Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry to keep you waiting. My family's all gone out with my wife's aunt today, so she's taken the kids, and I have found myself with the afternoon. So I thought I'd go through some of the things that have been left up in my browser windows, because there's been a lot I've wanted to talk about, and honestly, I don't really have the energy after doing that massive video to do a series of Thinkery videos. So I thought I'd just go through a bunch of stuff with you as a live stream because it's just easier. But yeah, man, that video took a long time to bloody make, I tell you. And it's such a long and pedantic video. And the things you have to be when dealing with that community, it's really frustrating. Hey, chat, right, okay, I've got everything sorted. Right. Yeah, so, like, there's been a lot of stuff going on that I haven't really been able to comment on. And my browser's just full of stuff. So I thought I'd go through some of it. The first one, I guess, will be the deplatforming of Soph. I've been rather enjoying the videos, but I'm not surprised after seeing this last video that she got deplatformed. Maybe I'm just particularly sensitive to the policing of the left at this point, but when I was watching just the first minute of this, I was like, shit. This is going to rustle some jimmies. And rustle some jimmies it appears to have done. Definitely advise finding any of your favourite content creators on BitChute. The other day I was reached out to by Pornhub, and I saw that Roaming Millennial and Blair White had been as well, because they were offering a place where we could host our videos and have them monetized. I'm definitely not saying no to the idea, but what I'm hoping is that we can win the battle for YouTube, so I don't want to give it up as a lost cause quite yet. But unironically, that's where we may end up having to go. And thanks, Punkster, I appreciate that, man. It took me forever, absolutely forever. So yeah, let's talk about Weimar degeneracy. Maybe 3 arrows is more right than he knows. Did you know that the guy who invented the term transsexual was an academic in Germany before the Nazis? And this was something that the Nazis ended up burning. All of his books and research, things like this. Like, his university got completely cleared out. I wonder why. In fact, that's... Right, yes. There was a Guardian article about this. Let me see if I've got it. Because that was more useful. Hang on a second. Because it came from The Guardian, and the BBC gets its marching orders from The Guardian. There we go. Right. So this I found absolutely fascinating. Politicised trans groups put children at risk, says an expert. Counsellors and other mental health providers fear being labelled as transphobic. Now, this is really, really reminiscent of what the Grooming Gang report said. Alexis J's Rotherham Grooming Gang report said. Counsellors and other police, the counsellors and police, were afraid of doing what they considered to be the right thing because of fears of being called racist. I mean, I know I don't have to point out to you guys that this is the way the left operates, right? I mean, everyone knows at this point. We in our sort of woke sphere are well aware that this is just the moral weapons they use to beat everyone down. Is like, if you don't agree with us, you hate the thing that we're talking about. And it's like, no, I just think you're wrong. That's the thing. And it's that pathologizing of you by them that you have to resist most. Any time you're having an argument with them, they will accuse you of being hateful, and the reason they're doing that is because they're fucking hateful. So school counsellors and mental health service providers are bowing to pressures from highly politicised transgender groups to affirm children's beliefs they were born of the wrong sex, a leading expert has warned. Marcus Evans, a psychotherapist and ex-governor of the Tavistock and Portman NHS Foundation Trust, whose gender identity development service is the only NHS clinic to provide gender counselling and transitioning, said many experts were living in fear of being labelled transphobic, which is having an impact on their objectivity. I believe the trans political agenda has encroached on the clinical environment surrounding and within the Gender Identity Development Service. Young people need an independent clinical service that has the long-term interests of the patient at heart. To some extent, this requires a capacity to stand up to pressure groups coming from various sources, from the young person, their family, peer groups, online and social networking pressures, and from highly politicized pro-trans groups. Is anyone shocked that this is the case? Seriously, chat, press 1 if you can't fucking believe it. Imagine your fucking shock that this is the case. Of course the pro-trans lobby is going to be all over this, everywhere, all the time. It's so just blatant. It's absolutely everywhere. I mean, look, more than 100 LGBT organisations and celebrities are urging the government to reform UK gender identity laws, the BBC has learned. Following a public consultation which had 100,000 responses, changes were promised, but the government has continually missed its own deadlines. They're complaining that it's an extremely bureaucratic process in order to end up getting your dick chopped off. All I'm saying is maybe there are some areas of life in which bureaucracy might be useful for extending a process, and that might be one of them, because it's pretty do or die. It's like full Brexit sort of style, like we might want to change our minds. All the Remain arguments can be made now, but yeah, it's just everywhere, and the BBC is completely in favour of it. Like LGBT teaching row. This is referring to the conflict between the Muslim parents and the LGBT lobby. The politicised LGBT lobby in Birmingham. The BBC think that the Muslims are the bad people now. A homophobic video and far-right material linked to protests against LGBT relationship lessons are being investigated by police. The clip, circulated via WhatsApp, claims primary schools are teaching Islamic children about sex and warns of a campaign against Muslims. It has also emerged that anti-Islam material was sent to one Birmingham school at the centre of the protest. Bloody hell. There are now fears the row is being exploited by 2 sets of extremists. Dude, I think it's 3 sets of fucking extremists. I think that it's all sides, for the love of God. It's not just Islamists and far right, it's the far left too. But the far left are the ones driving the agenda. The No Outsiders program is a far left program. But the BBC don't see it. Weird, that, isn't it? Really, really gets the noggin jogging. They're just like, what's up, guy? We're just going to buy half the copies of the UK circulation of The Guardian now. Maybe you should read the one where The Guardian actually print, look, maybe these politicised trans groups are a problem. BBC. So yeah, they're complaining that the far right and the Muslims are getting together to fight the SJWs. So okay, fine. Anyway, let's go back to what the SJWs are doing. There might be a reason for this. The number of children annually referred to GIDS has risen from 468 in 2013 to 2,519 in 2018. Some claim social media is a factor in the increase. In a hard-hitting paper presented at a conference earlier this year and shared with The Observer, he quoted the experience of Dagny, a woman who identified as a trans man in her teens, has now detransitioned and says she was influenced by views expressed on the social network Tumblr. I mean, what am I supposed to say? Yeah, this has been something we've been saying for quite some time. These views are unhealthy and are going to lead people to do unhealthy things. And what? Like, this is breaking news to The Guardian. One of these unhealthy beliefs I held was the belief that you have gender dysphoria, you must transition. And if anyone that appeared to stand in my way was a transphobe, an alt-right bigot. Well, that's the cult mentality we were talking about. My noggin is currently jogging. Yeah, I know, right? So my hormones are fucking active. So, oh, really? There are problems with this, and we're not just bigots. Tim Pool did a video on politicised transgender groups are putting kids and science at risk, and it talks about the damage to the brain development. Ooh, that sounds like a good video. In fact, there was actually a fairly good documentary done by like Channel 4 on, I can't remember, what the Channel 4 website, YouTube channel, or maybe it was BBC actually. No, in fact, it was the BBC because it was a pro one. In fact, Channel 4 probably done pro one as well. But it was in favour. But unironically, they let slip in this video that the drugs that the kids are getting are untested, and the state is just okay with it. And the kids, like this 15-year-old kid, is just like, well, yeah, I'm fine with it because I'm transitioning. It's literally sounding like, one of these Tumblrites. And it's just one of those things where it's like, geez, I'm just watching thinking, right, okay, so the British state is giving cancer-causing carcinogenic drugs to children that haven't been tested. And it's like, right, that's wild. Never in my wildest dreams would I think that that would be something that would pass. I mean, you just think, no, on the face of it, that's irresponsible. Like, we know that people who transition get much higher rates of cancer. Must be something to do with the drugs. And in this documentary, they were saying that they just hadn't tested them. These untested drugs were given to kids. It's like, really? And why? Well, with the eventual intent of chopping off their dicks. Like, what? What the fuck is happening here, man? This is like, so I'm just like, whenever my son has an expression of masculinity, I'm like, yes. Honestly, I'm thrilled about it. Like, son, you're going to be the manliest man who's ever manned. Rip Mario Lopez, man. Sorry, yeah, we'll get to all I thought I'd go through the sort of like the important stuff first. We'll get to all like loads of drama. Mario, you were probably making a good point, man. It's probably not good for children to have to transition. We should probably act like that. We're not going to genocide trans people. 3 arrows, calm down. There aren't going to be any trans death camps. But we are going to suggest that maybe there are other alternatives than chopping off penises to solve whatever problem we're encountering here. I'm just saying, there might be a middle way. God. Fucking. Honestly, I just see this as lunacy. I just see the fact that socially, as a civilization, that we have these conversations, that this is just madness to me. It's like, okay, right? I mean, full-on clown world. Like, okay. One of these unhealthy beliefs. Okay, so Evans resigned as governor of the trust in February in protest as response to criticism from a former member of its Council of Governors, David Bell, who'd raised concerns from 10 members of staff. They reported inadequate assessments, patients brushed through for early medical interventions, and an inability to stand up to pressure from trans lobbies. Right, so David Bell would be one of their activists then. A review of Bell's concerns by the Trust did not identify any immediate issues in relation to the patient safety or failings in their approach, just responding to the needs of young people. Evans said that since his resignation, he's been concerned about the debate around transition had been shut down by a vocal minority. The mind that is free to think or ask difficult questions is treated as a real threat. That's a good point, and that's because there are some serious difficult questions to be asked, and you're a transphobe, shut your fucking mouth. TV producers and journalists continually report that while people are willing to speak in confidence to them about their reservations about treatment in these areas, they shy away from being named for fear of being accused of being bigoted and transphobic, and sometimes either disciplined or even sacked for speaking their mind. Right, so what we can identify here is that the public space has become totally controlled, tyrannized by one particular group. Right, when that can be identified, it's incumbent on everyone to say, look, we're just not going to call each other that name anymore. Like, that's the end of that. We're not going to just pathologize people in that way. You're not evil for having questions about this, and the people who are claiming that you are the problem. And we happen to have a death cap now. Say, Dave Kin, you dirty, dirty smear merchant. There you go. Thanks, James. Sorry, I'll get the super chats up. It's just waffling to myself, obviously. And I'm the only one here. I asked V to see if he was around, but he's apparently not around, which sucks. Because I haven't done a stream with V for ages. And he's well on top of this sort of stuff. Yeah, Luke, no, like, the term eunuch is actually something you could probably use. Boris Man Bad? Yeah, we'll get to Boris Man Bad in a minute. There's some good stuff from Boris as well. Tim Pool actually said something similar about his time to Sweden, and I love how woke Tim's getting on the Swedish question. it's really funny. Just watching his videos about it and talking to him personally about it, he's just like, yeah, man, Sweden's a fucking weird country. I don't like it. Because like they'll do exactly the same as this guy's pointing out in his article here. You know, they'll all the journalists would talk to him and be like, oh god, yeah, there's the real problems with like, you know, hand grenades and no-go zones, and then he'd say it publicly and they would all just denounce him for saying it. And it's just like, man, that is a weird culty atmosphere that is genuinely creepy. Since his high-profile resignation, Evans' concerns have broadened as parents approach him for advice about their children. They confirm that the gender-affirmative approach is being adopted by many school counsellors and children and adolescent mental health services. Evan notes, these parents also expressed alarm that after their children suddenly announced they believed they were the wrong sex, practitioners were immediately endorsing this belief. The belief that this was the cause of the child's distress, rather than offering time to explore perhaps long-standing psychological/developmental issues. Yeah, they want it to be true, to confirm everything they believe, and if you don't confirm everything they believe, then maybe everything they believe is actually shit. And so it has to be this. And you're a bigot. God, I can't even imagine taking these people seriously. Like, in an official meeting, they go, well, I'm afraid we've found that you're transphobic, and now you're going to have to be fired. You know, like, what's the approach? Oh, this was the thing that was in the documentary, actually. With waiting times for a consultation taking up to 2 years, some critics accuse the Tavistock Centre of being too slow to meet demand for its services, but others accuse it of fast-tracking children onto hormone blockers, a pathway to transitioning, a claim that the Trust rejects. But in this documentary, they found that literally 100% of the children that they put on hormone blockers ended up transitioning completely. So it's like their takeaway from this was that they weren't doing it enough. Whereas my takeaway from something like that is it's being done too much. It's really hard to believe that not one of these children was like, maybe I won't, you know? Like 100% of them. That's weird to me. In April, it emerged that 5 clinicians had resigned over concerns that some children had been sent for life-changing medical intervention without a thorough assessment of their options. And it really is life-changing stuff. You know what I mean? It's like this is just, it's such a Rubicon to cross. Like, we are going to surgically remove your genitalia. It's like, dude, that's normally a huge punishment. Like, that's normally what you do to someone when you want to ruin their life and turn them into, like, a broken man. That's why he does it on Game of Thrones. To, oh god, what was his name? Theon. That's why they do it to Theon. Because it's to destroy them as a man and as a person. Like, like, just, go on there. We don't need to look at the other options. Quick, just get in there and get on the operating table. Just, mad. It's absolutely mad. Like, and again, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be done. Like, you know, people shouldn't transition or something like that. But I'm saying that maybe this shouldn't be done to children. You know, I don't think we should be giving otherwise healthy children drugs. And if that means that by the time they're like 16 or 18 or whatever the age of majority is in this regard, that their body is developed a bit, well then, okay. But I think it's more dangerous to do the reverse, you know? Like, everyone's bodies develop. Anyway, last week BBC Newsnight reported that the Trust had data showing that children who took hormone blockers and reported increase in thoughts of suicide and self-harm. The Trust said that the data involving 44 children was too small to draw final conclusions. It's just the data. It said the data suggested the positive outcomes were likely to outweigh the negative. Oh, that's fine then, isn't it? If the ends justify the means. The Newsnight expose followed an open letter posted online by a former clinician at the Leeds branch of Kids, Dr. Kirsty Entwistle, who warned that the traumatic early experiences which might be a factor in a young person's desired transition were not being investigated by medical staff out of a fear of being labelled transphobic. And that's there was another thing going around as well about the number of gay men who thought they were trans and just turned out to be gay. something that doesn't require massive surgical intervention, it probably worth exploring that option first. In a statement, the Trust said, GIDS is a thoughtful and safe service. It cares for young people at a vulnerable time in their lives. Oh, fucking hell, this sounds creepy, doesn't it? Our experience with this group of patients, which is a highly diverse group, indicates that the choice to do nothing is not neutral and may lead to significant harm. The service is thorough and systematic in its approach to exploring the young people and families. Exploring with the young people and families. Jesus. The best way of dealing with their distress and the implications of different choices. It added, we believe the opinions described are misinformed and based on a limited view, both of the clinical work undertaken within the service and of the experience of young people seeking help from the Gender Identity Development Service. Man, that sounds weird and creepy to me. I think this is going too far, really way too far. I don't think children should be transitioning at all. In any way. I think that's wrong. I think that these kind of like in the first 10, 15 years of your life, you make decisions that could affect the next 70 like this. You're not even an adult. You haven't even finished school, and you're making the kind of decisions that are physically going to change everything about your life going forward. I mean, having normal adult relationships is going to be more difficult from this point. And this is the thing, like there was I probably have it up somewhere still actually, but there was a thing that was showing how transgender people had real problems dating. They were having problems getting dates. They were having problems forming relationships. It's like, well, okay, I don't know what I can do about that, but I definitely don't think that we should be allowing children to choose that option. That's not going to be something they're going to be taught about. So, I don't know, man. It's just like, I just think it's going to really age badly. And this is not a commentary on any person who wants to transition. If you're an adult and choose to do it, then I'm happy to believe that you can make that kind of informed choice. But when it comes to kids, man, there's something about pumping kids full of untested carcinogenic drugs that just really makes me think this is going to age badly. Transgenderism, when people call you mentally ill, so you cut off your penis to prove them wrong. Well, where's the line? Sagan, thank you for the great content. Your nation's draconian life laws make great arguments against gun control here in the US. Have a great day. It really doesn't even matter. Hello, Carl's opinion. Love your work, Sagan. Beer and chill, perfect. Yeah, basically, like, I've got a quiet afternoon. I've actually managed to get a massive fucking video out, and I've actually got the kids and the wife and like other family get out off doing something. And so I'm just like, what a nice thing to have. It's unusual, maybe a bit later I'll play some Magic the Gathering. This will be lovely. That's the page Tim used for his video. Yeah. I haven't seen his one on it yet, but right. Harayan Gladiv said, done videos on all this, Tavistock news. Reckon soon we'll see lawsuits from the kids who are affected by the trans activists. Hopes it stops them. Yeah, I would imagine so. I think that at some point, and again, I'm not at any point saying people shouldn't be able to transition or anything like that. I just think that it needs to have an age restriction put on it in the same way as any other kind of, would we let a child get other kinds of surgeries, physical aesthetic surgeries? Are the kids allowed to do that? If a kid's like, I want my nose done, or I want, why is a German using a vegan sausage? What the hell? Oh God, well, progressive Germans, man. They'll be diverse and... Oh no, I'm looking for a thing. Right, okay, sorry. Right, what else do I have here? So I'm oh God, look at this, right? This is all a part of it. This is all wrapped up in the thing. This is some very Republican biased thing. But I watched the video of this. I'm not going to play it because it's got copyrighted music in it. But basically, it's this fat, I guess, a man dressed as a woman is taking off clothes and dancing around and what is going on? Like, it's gross. Drag queen story hour featuring a stripping drag queen. I mean, she didn't actually strip, but it was the suggestive dancing. I was just like, this is just too far, man. It's just too fucking far. Anyway. But the thing is, on the other side, right? So, like, a woman was arrested in Poland over poster of the Virgin Mary with the rainbow halo. Arrested for offending religious sentiment. That's obviously not good, is it? You know, I mean, I like Poland's approach to SJW ideology, but I don't like their approach to protecting religion. Now I've got to kind of defend the SJW. Oh, God. But yeah, this person had been arrested for carrying out a profanation of the Virgin Mary of... Fuck, like... What? That... C-Z-E with a funny squiggle. S-T-O Choa. Right, no, I'm not... That's not a word that human languages make. A Plock police spokeswoman confirmed a 50-year-old woman had been arrested over the alleged offence. The woman had been abroad, but upon her return, police searched and entered and searched her home where they found several dozen images of the Virgin Mary with a rainbow-coloured halo. That sounds pretty authoritarian to me, to be honest. I don't like this at all. Offending religious feeling is a crime under the Polish penal code. Fuck me. Well, how's that different to Pakistan in that regard, then? Poland. This is not based enough. Again, I can't pronounce any of these names. The guy who described the posters as cultural barbarism when they appeared overnight in April said, telling stories about freedom and tolerance doesn't give anyone the right to offend feelings of believers. Oh, for fuck's sake. It never ends, does it? Poland's ruling right-wing Law and Justice Party has sought to mobilise its core electorate by raising the spectre of the country that is being overwhelmed by Western liberal social values. See, if they weren't degenerate, it probably wouldn't be a problem. Like, they're probably looking at the Drag Kids Hour and thinking, nope. Probably looking at the gender identity clinic in the UK and just going, nope. Just nope. This is all, you know, criticising religion and becoming a radical degenerate are basically one and the same, and all no. And it's like, for fuck's sake. And the thing is, right, it's not like their assessment of the SJW movement isn't correct. We are dealing with a direct attack on the family and children, the sexualization of children, that entire LGBT movement, gender. This is imported, but they say today they threaten our identity, our nation, its continuation, and therefore the Polish state. I mean, that's not a wrong assessment. So I don't know what to say. Like, it's genuinely not a wrong assessment. They are looking to castrate your children, which means the end of that family, doesn't it? So, you know, it's not wrong. I just don't like the solution. Fuck me, man. Polish people would support it. That's what matters. Well, I suppose so, but I've got to criticise it in that regard. Then, I'd be amazed if countries beside the US actually had freedom of speech. Yeah, not many of them do, really. Loved your response to 3 Arrows video. YouTube has been wanting me to go down the breadtube rabbit hole recently. It's hilarious. Oh, yeah. I don't think that there's any question that the thumb is on the scales in that regard. Patreon has moved against the Second Amendment community. I thought that had already happened. If only we had a canary on the coal mine for this. On topic, we won't let kids gamble, smoke, drink alcohol, get tattoos, but you can change your gender. Yes, exactly. Exactly. You can turn yourself into a eunuch, but you can't smoke. God forbid, because that'd be bad for you. You might get cancer. Yeah, because this won't end up like when they were using lobotomies to treat depression. Yeah. Why does the UK keep trying to reduce reproduction? I don't think there's any kind of conscious attempt to do it, but it's just an inevitable consequence of the way we're going. The more I hear about SJWs, the more I think they're orcs from Warhammer. They rather use violence than talk it out. They don't adapt to the world. They adapt the world to them. They dumb things into existence. I view them more like chaos. I view them more like Slanesh, like the breakers of boundaries. Like every boundary has to be broken. Everyone has to be infested with plague. Like, it all comes from esoteric high-minded ivory towers, and it'll be imposed on you with violence if you resist. Honestly, I totally see the SJWs like chaos. What else we got? How feminism paved the way for transgenderism. There's an interesting write-up on Quillette's about this. But I mean, I didn't feel the need to go through on this because we all know this. They're the ones who are the most prolific promoters of it. I tell you what, Trump and the Baltimore thing. I like you, but you've swallowed too much Rand crap. Well, I'm not an objectivist. I do think there is something like a society that is a thing, but I don't like it when theocrats are necessarily in control of it. But I mean, to be fair, who is in control of it? Fun fact: pumping your body with hormones that don't belong there can cause cancer, pretty similar to smoking. My goodness. The more I hear about the SJWs, oh no, I've just read that. I've been rewatching Peep Show recently. Amazing how Robert Webb's character is less contemptible than the actor playing him. Yeah, I know. I love this self-flagellating kick they're on, where they're like, oh God, wait a minute. I told naughty jokes for the last 15 years and got really well paid doing it. I'm going to have to start feeling really bad about myself. It's like, why? Like, 0 people were hurt by your jokes. It was well obvious that it was in the context of a comedy program. Nothing went wrong by doing that. Like, there's no reason to feel guilty about being a comedian. I don't know why I have to say this, but they seem to genuinely have this kind of guilt about, oh God, what have I done? It's like, oh, fuck's sake, man. Anyway, yeah. So Trump turning on Baltimore was the best thing in the world. And what the best part about it is just the videos that are in existence about people talking about Baltimore. Like this guy.
This morning, I left my community of Baltimore, a drug-infested area, where a lot of the drugs that we're talking about today have already taken the lives of so many children. The same children that I watched 14 or 15 years ago as they grew up, now walking around like zombies. This is only 40 miles away from here.
Wow, that sounds pretty bad, man. It's a good thing the president's pointing out that Baltimore has problems then, right, isn't it? Like, I can't understand why they're just anti-Trump, aren't they? You know, it's not that they care about any of the things that are being spoken about. It's just that if Trump likes it, they have to dislike it. And if Trump dislikes it, they have to like it. It's really gross to see. But I love how Trump's just been winding them the fuck up on Twitter, actually. It's been, just the whole thing has just been amazing. Because, like, Trump went on to call Cummings District a disgusting rat-infested rodent mess and a very dangerous and filthy place. But the thing is, like, I mean, literally everyone was making videos dunking on this, going, well, here's the Baltimore Sun saying this is a rat-infested place. And, like, they're doing an interview and a rat runs past in the background. It's like, fucking hell. Like, like, don't defend shitty areas unless you're prepared to really defend what happened. And again, they're Democrat. So who can he point to? Like, he can't... He's got them so... just in a little rat trap, in fact. Just psh, the cheese was laid. The rat is caught. Is the House of Windsor involved in paedophilia? I have no idea. But hang on, didn't what's his face go on Jeffrey Epstein's island, Prince Andrew? I think he's kind of rumored to have a weird private life, and he was a buddy of Jeffrey Epstein's, if I recall correctly. So, I don't know. I don't want to make any libelous statements. See if Trump's tweeted anything interesting recently. Right, trade deal. Oh my God, he's retweeting Katie Hopkins. Right, so for anyone who doesn't know, Katie Hopkins is essentially persona non grata in the UK because she's an absolute savage. and says things like, "Why are Muslims always fleeing to Christian countries?" Really, really, really pissing off the politically correct mainstream with pointed questions. And Trump keeps retweeting her, which absolutely drives them apoplectic. Is slightly more permissible than Jada Franson, who was from Britain First, but not by much. It was just genuinely good to watch him retweeting people who just drive them mental. Recently went back and watched the Shitlord Versus videos you did. They were great, especially with Skeptic and She. You should do another. Yeah, man, I've just been really busy, honestly. I haven't been very sociable. Although I've got an interview with Zuby that I did the other day that I'll be uploading tomorrow, probably. So lots of content. But, oh my God, he's still retweeting her.
A horrific week for them. First up, a boy died, an 8-year-old child, after he was shoved in front of a train by one of Merkel's migrants. An Eritrean man shoved him and his mum in front of a train. She managed to roll to safety.
Apparently, this guy had been wanted in Switzerland, I think it was, as well. So, I mean, this, you know, did we ever get a reason for him doing this? Because, I mean, it's such a fucking evil thing to do.
But her 8-year-old child was slaughtered in front of her. You know, 10 weeks before, something the media really don't want to talk about, exactly the same thing happened. A 34-year-old lady was shoved in front of a train. She too died. Another German national killed at the hands of Merkel's migrants. This has got to stop. Today, Germany rocked after man hacked to death in street by a Syrian migrant. Many of you will have seen the images online. They are distressing. He used a machete, a samurai sword, to repeatedly hack a man to death in broad daylight as Germans tried to stop him. Another German national dead on the street. And what do the liberals in Berlin do about it? They publicise something that says differences in culture exist.
That's fucking amazing. Differences in culture exist. Yeah, thanks, Germany.
Exist. Yeah, well...
Yeah, no kidding. But this whole, man, all of these should be laid at Merkel's feet. And I'm telling you, man, all of the grooming gangs should be laid at the feet of Tony Blair. He's the one who fucking opened our borders. Labour, thankfully, looks like Labour are dying, actually. It looks like Corbyn's killing them off. But, man, I'm really angry about it. None of these people are ever going to see any justice. Not one of the councillors or authorities or any of the people involved, the MPs, who said, don't worry about it. Those girls are just, you know, they want this. This is good for them, or whatever it is, whatever their fucking attitude is. Every single person who is permissible about this along this process, none of them are ever going to be held to account for it. Not one. They're just going to carry on.
No shit, Sherlock. Because we don't tend to push small children in front of trains, and we don't tend to stab friends to death with machetes because they were our flatmate and we were a bit cross with them. And so what are the Berliners doing about it? They are going to give sexual consent classes to refugees to help them understand that raping our daughters is not okay. And you know, the reason they're trying to instruct migrants not to rape our kids and our girls is because a young German national was gang raped by 11 men in Friedberg. 10 of those 11 men were Merkel's migrants. You know, Angela Merkel, it's not us that hates. It's not the right that hates. It's you. You said, wir schaffen das. We can do this, and brought in 1 million of them. Thing is, you never asked us if we wanted them here.
Well, so yeah, Trump's Twitter feed has been quite amusing, but not today. But, oh, look at this. Female Twitch streamers are reclaiming the word slut through hashtag SlutStreamDay. Stunning and brave. Well, it's literally them just gonna. They're just gonna sit there streaming with their tits out with SlutStreamDay because why? We want to draw attention to the harassment and massive shaming streamers face and fight against it. You certainly do want some attention, don't you? Like, there's porn all over the internet, dude. And e-thoughts are 1 million a piece, you know, like a dime a dozen. Like, who cares? Honestly. The Daily Dot has promoted this. So I was looking at the shooter of the Garlic Festival. So, you know, this is just like CNN's basic bitch report. He looked like an average guy, apparently knew how to use a gun. And during the attack, like someone asked him, why are you doing this? And he's like, 'cause I'm really angry. And so naturally, everyone focused on these Instagram posts where he had said things like, why overcrowd towns and pave more open space to make room for hordes of mestizos and Silicon Valley white twats? Which is that a really bad word in the US? It's not that bad. But he said to people to read Might is Right, which is a book I've not read, actually. So everyone assumed that he's a white supremacist, and I thought that was a fair assumption as well. But the FBI have said that the media is wrong on the Garlic shooter's white supremacy ideology, despite that media post. And I find that very interesting. So I thought it'd be worth going through this quickly. Saying it's wrong to classify him as a white supremacist. We're looking at multiple threads of conversations he's had. We're still not comfortable in saying it's an ideology one way or another. No reason to believe that the shooter was targeting any particular characteristics on Sunday. Maybe he just really was offended by the idea of a garlic festival. Still reviewing his social media and digital forensics, blah, blah, yeah. So, he purchased a legally owned AK-47 variant. But what was the... Okay. Right, so... In the seizure of his Nevada home, the San Francisco Chronicle reported the officials found reading materials on white supremacy and radical Islam, as per anonymous federal law enforcement source. Reading materials were apparently not included in the items found in the search warrant. Bennett said those findings of literature are erroneous and incorrect information. So fake news is what you mean, Mr. Bennett. But the thing is, you could find such books on my bookshelf. So, that doesn't make me a radical white nationalist jihadi. But even then, it's apparently fake news. He said there were many materials found and need to be sorted. To call it ideology in one way or another is conflicting readings. Just because someone has a book on their house doesn't mean they lean one way or another. Officials are not overly concerned of items found in the apartment. They are not ruling anything out. That's really interesting, isn't it? That the FBI investigation, they're being very careful not to just post him as a white supremacist. Because, it seems like the path of least resistance, doesn't it? No one's on the side of the white supremacist mass shooter, so why wouldn't you happily let people characterize it that way? But, I haven't got any further information on that. I just thought that was interesting. This I've had in my browser for ages, and it's the funniest thing in the world. Islamic TV channel faces UK ban for saying gay people are worse than pigs. Oh, really? Finally. See, this is just because the LGBT lobby. The valley of the homosexuals. This is so fucking funny. It's so fast. Channel Queer Kid Stuff explains consent with a kiddie song. God, I dread to think, actually. On the subject of Might Makes Right, I actually consider that to be the way the universe works. The sun is power, but immoral. The key to ensure that moral, liberal people get the most power. It's key to the liberal understanding of the state that it is a law of nature that might determines the resultant order. Which is why we monopolise the power to initiate force with the state and then put severe constraints on it. But I'm going to have to read that Might Makes Right book. That sounds interesting. I'm always interested in reading radicals literature. Burn the books, it's for the children. I'm hearing Christian on the rise because of PewDiePie's Christian channel joke. Trump follower meme like using Tumblr to find someone to go to church, and Milo brings gays back to church. Did you see the great hack on Netflix Big Bias? No, I haven't, actually. I have a Netflix account that my kids watch cartoons on, and occasionally I watch like Z Nation or something on. But I don't tend to watch much Netflix. I've never seen any of their original programming, for instance. Baltimore is crap. Burlington, Vermont is great. Did Seth Rich leak the DNC files to WikiLeaks? Well, I can't prove that he did. But WikiLeaks said that it wasn't the Russians, and that it was a party person. And then Seth Rich got mugged. So I recently went back and watched... Oh, no, right. Okay. Is this video going to be blocked by The Guardian? Shouldn't be. I think we're good. Right, yeah, so an Islamic TV channel which aired a program calling homosexuality insane and the influence of Satan could be stripped of its UK broadcasting license. Really? But they're so moderate. Peace TV, which is found to have shown 4 programs in breach of Ofcom regulations on inciting crime, hate speech and abuse. But the Dubai based channel defended programs saying they were based on Islamic teachings. Man, I can't believe Islam considers homosexuality insane and the influence of Satan. I think just saying that is probably a hate crime against Islam. Like this is demonizing Muslims, I think, that they'll find. Ofcom said one show called Strengthening Your Family, The Valley of the Homosexuals, made reference to gay people dying from a disease they contracted because they are homosexuals. The program said homosexuality is a very unnatural type of love that is energized by the influence of Satan. Oh, Zakir Naik. Oh, he's the... Right, yeah, he found it, right. He was banned from the UK, by the way, for his unacceptable behaviour. Oh, and speaking of banned from the UK, who else has been banned? But my fucking boy, Tariq Nasheed, apparently. Before I forget, I better follow my burner account. Was like, he posted that he was banned from the UK, and I don't know whether this is true, by the way. So, I hope it's not true, because like, hashtag free Tariq, man. I don't want Tariq to be banned from the UK. Oh, let's come over and give speeches. Speak Tariq. Yeah, here we go. So, yeah, he apparently learned that he was banned. But to be fair, the UK do ban a lot of people. I mean, it's, like Louis Farrakhan was also banned. And I can't help but feel that maybe Tariq has some crossover with Farrakhan's fan club. So, maybe there's something there. But, yeah. So Tariq Nasheed banned from the UK. Gutting. I'll never get to interview him now. Anyway, so being on television in front of our children, kissing each other in the mouth, walking down the street, hugging and kissing. This society has gone insane. Even an animal that is defiled by Islam, the pig, as nasty and corrupted and contaminated as the pig is, what the fuck did pigs ever do to you, man? Like... I haven't got any particular love of pigs, but I don't hate them either. Like, you never see 2 male pigs that are trying to have sex together. That's insanity. Well, if you've banned pigs, of course you never see gay pigs. These are animals. Human beings are supposed to be dignified. Oh, Jesus Christ. They're thinking beings. A human being is supposed to be a thinking being. Jesus, you just sound absurd. Honestly, that's like a parody. It's honestly like a parody. Inside the Valley of the Homosexuals. Are pigs more dignified than homosexuals? Islam asking the real questions. Oh, no, in fact, right, okay, so this was something I came across the other day, and I was just looking at it like, right, okay, what the fuck do I make of this? So I found on the Huffington Post, a post from 2018, but I didn't find it in 2018, obviously. It was during Black History Month, is it, that the Americans have? Whatever the calendar month for worshipping this particular segment of the population is. why we need to celebrate black mediocrity. Black mediocrity. Why we need to celebrate mediocrity. Why the fuck would we need to celebrate mediocrity? Like, most of our life experiences are probably going to be able to be described in one way or another as mediocre. Like, that's normal. Like, it's just not tremendously impressive. That's most people's experience of life, is it not? Fuck's sake. I was not a white nationalist, but then I came across your videos. Oh, God. Now I am learning German, practicing my goose-stepping, and I am Jewish. Honestly, you want to read some Theodor Kaufmann? He was Jewish too. When's the book coming out? Oh God, I haven't written it yet. I'm putting stuff together for it. It's going to take a long time to. So I want to do something informative and useful. Ruben, I don't know what's in Ruben's. I haven't read his yet. Ruben just released his, and if he can publish a book, anyone can. Suggest the title. I wouldn't even read this book. No. I'll be something more normie friendly, I think. I'm gay and I find people calling me Satan funny. That's because it is funny. You should check out Bill Whittle's interview on Whiskey Politics talking about how Hollywood is left but culture and content are conservative. Great arguments. He's super woke to SJWs and postmodernism. Yeah, I'll check it out. When are you selling bathwater? Well, that's a good question, isn't it? I just see Belle Delphine as the most savvy entrepreneur of the 21st century, to be honest. Like, what degeneracy have I tuned in on? Yeah, why we need to celebrate people being shit at stuff? Because they're black. It's October, which means it's Black History Month, a celebration of the contributions of African and Caribbean diaspora in the UK. As I scroll through my Twitter timeline using the hashtag Black Excellence, I am delighted to see countless examples of thriving black creatives, philanthropists, entrepreneurs, academics, and business professionals who have beaten the odds. Beaten the odds. Fucking beaten the odds. Affirmative action programs up the wazoo, and you're like, oh yeah, beat the odds, fuck off. Although there has always been successful black people, then how beating the odds? I thought the odds were stacked against them, buddy. The concept of black excellence is a rather newer phenomenon. Sounds offensive. Born out of social media's democratization of the media landscape, viral hashtags such as Black Boy Joy and Black Girl Magic have empowered us to combat the often negative stereotypes seen in mainstream media. You mean news reports? And create authentic, positive images, reclaiming our narratives in the process. Well, you know, I don't even disagree with the need to do that. Yeah, you know, celebrate. Go ahead, it's great. It's good to celebrate what you are, rather than juxtaposing it against what you're not. That's what I would suggest. However, as I'm sure you're aware, humans are not a monolith. We are coloured, excuse the pun, by a range of attitudes, complex dimensions, emotions, and characteristics. We have good days and bad days. Oh God, I really get this guy. He really relates to me. Successes and lessons learned from our failures. Our experiences are not simply black and white. Don't excuse that pun, though, do you? What I have sometimes observed in the media is a prevalence of bad stereotypes or shining examples of black people achieving exceptional feats with little to fill the chasm in between. In order to have our humanity recognized, we literally have had to save a fictitious technologically advanced civilization in a superhuman catsuit. We? Where's the we? Crack mathematical equations for NASA in Jim Crow-era America, or be a reformed inmate on death row in possession of superhuman healing abilities. Wow. That's a lot to have to aspire to, I suppose. I'm a big fan of the film Friday, where they both just sit around and smoke weed. Like, that film spoke to me. Although these examples may seem well-meaning. At the far end of the spectrum, these perceptions can result in a superhumanization bias. These prejudices can be just as damaging to the more glaring counterparts. Yeah, they're damaging to those fat lazy fucks who want to sit on their house and do nothing. I know, I am one of them. Just not a black one. This is why I believe we must say black mediocrity matters. This is a cause I can get behind. It's like, fellow mediocre people, come here, let's all be mediocre together. Average people rise up. Did you get a C in your exam? Right, come and sit on these benches. We're going to take out those people who are fucking getting A's. Unionize against the intelligent and the energetic. When I refer to black mediocrity, I'm presenting an alternative solution to the starkly contrasting descriptions of black people presently seen in the mainstream media. It is the simple idea that we should be afforded the same benefits as anyone else to simply exist authentically as our multi-dimension selves. Man, look at Florida Man. Like, people in Florida don't have that luxury. I'm going to Florida soon as well. It shows us insecure chewing gum in Atlanta are disrupting mainstream narratives and presenting black people as everyday individuals who are experiencing everyday things. My God. Is this the final frontier for the oppression of black people in the media or something? Right. So the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that Snopes is feuding with the Babylon Bee. I don't really know why. And it's really, really bizarre. But, like, the Babylon Bee is a parody website that does political satire. Your trusted source for Christian news satire. And it's all just, everything, like woke polar bear apologizes for being white. It's, comedy. Oh, fucking hell, that one. And so, like, did Georgia lawmaker claim a Chick-fil-A employee told her to go back to her country? Claim. Georgia State Rep Erica Thomas claimed that a Chick-fil-A employee told her to go back to her country. False. So, where was it? The Babylon Bee has managed to confuse readers with its brand of satire in the past. It's like, you actually, I suppose, if there are some people fucking thinking about it. But this is something that's been going on for a while. And it seems to be kind of personal. So where was there was a good bit in here that he was... So yeah, this is it. While the real-world incident stirred up a good amount of online anger, it wasn't quite outrageous enough for the entertainment website Babylon Bee. In an apparent attempt to maximise the online indignation, the website published a fictionalised version of the story, changing the location to Chick-fil-A, a fast food restaurant known for its CEO's opposition to same-sex marriage. It's like, this is not a fact check, and this is not an attempt to maximise online indignation. It's an attempt to mock the seriousness with which these kind of really petty issues are taken. We published a fictionalized version of the story. That's certainly an interesting way of saying we satirize an absurd real-life event. That thing all satirical outlets do. I've got to say, I'm totally with the Babylon Bee on this. Like, it's ridiculous that Snopes would even acknowledge this. This is obviously a joke. What is wrong with Snopes? Oof. Boris. Yeah, online anger, right? It's like, online anger. Man, fuck me. I don't think online anger should be a stick by which we measure anything. Absolutely anything. Why? There are people online who are angry. Well, tell me something that's fucking new. When is that not the case? Why even say it? Like, this is why I drink. We need to make Michael Knowles the Pope so he can call for a crusade. The bathwater of mediocre pigs, £30 a pop. Yeah, but it probably only has like 2 or 3 sales. Really mediocre. I thought black integration was better in the UK versus US. It is. But the problem is we're getting like woke black ideology coming over and the progressive types are adopting it. Like normal black people do not think this way. Like they're just like, what? Mate, I'm just getting on my day or whatever. It's like, it's not... There isn't like this much of an attitude. But the progressive types, I've actually, like I said, I spoke to Zuby the other day and Sare Garvey, who are like a part of this sort of like wing of life, I suppose. I don't know how to describe it. Like, but they are complaining about the same things we're complaining about from their perspectives. Call your book Jess Phillips, so she will always be defined by you. She defines herself by me in her Twitter bio. It's so mental. Like, she really obsesses. Plus, if it's good enough, you could throw her off the top Google search. Well, The Jess Phillips Story by Carl Benjamin, a biography. Have I seen the video hashtag #Iceport45? No, I haven't. I heard down in Australia you recently had a heat wave. I'll try not to laugh. Yeah, okay, look. It was a heat wave from our perspective. It was like 35 degrees or something in London. It was unbelievably hot here. And I happen to have the only room in the house with air conditioning, which is my office. And only I'm allowed in my office and sometimes my boy. So, you know. I'm not saying that I was planning for global warming or anything, but it really worked out in my favour. In fact, on the subject of that, before we go on to Boris, apparently the Trump campaign has made nearly $500,000 selling plastic straws with Trump written on them, according to EcoWatch. As a libertarian, I get told to move to Somalia all the time. Where's my Snopes article? No one complaining about Malcolm X's Back to Africa movement. Good point. Very good point. Oh, God. The People's Battle Axe on Instagram. Oh, Jesus, what are we looking at? Didn't the Soviets also celebrate mediocrity by persecuting the more skilled? Once again, the solution to the problem is communism. Yes. Any comment on the Hong Kong protest? Seems to be the facing the abyss of an authoritarian takeover. UK and US protesters should learn from the Hong Kongies on how to protest more effectively. To be fair, I think there were actually millions of protesters in Hong Kong, and Hong Kong only has like 7 million people. There were like 2 million people out on the streets or something. So, I mean, they are really in trouble, aren't they? Because they're looking at China taking over, which, I mean, I think it's already happened. Well, I know it's already happened, but like, I haven't been following it as closely as I should be because I've been busy working. But I should look into it and do a video on it so people have got a clear view of why this is happening or something, because I haven't seen anyone talking about it other than just, oh, look, people in Hong Kong are protesting. That's interesting and foreign and weird, and we're not going to talk about it. It's like, maybe there should be. Babylon Bee's next article. Snopes blows annual budget tackling veracity of Harry Potter spells. Right, yeah. So, I just found this funny. That they're angry. That they're selling packs of 10 plastic straws for $15. That's $1.50 a pop. But that's apparently a price Trump supporters are willing to pay. Well, yeah, it's kind of a way of supporting his campaign and dunking on you. But that's pretty amazing. Like $500,000 in straw sales. Man, that's good money. I mean, what are you going to... I'm not going to turn that up, are you? I honestly, all I'm saying, right, is that the paper straw thing is overblown. I think that this example is not representative of the paper straw movement, but I can support 100%. I think it's okay for us to drink out of paper straws. You know, I think... Oh, yeah, right. Google CEO, $8 billion loss is a price worth paying over the Me Too campaign. How fucking mental. Like... The CEO, Gary Coombs, said he does not regret his company's controversial marketing campaign targeted at the Me Too movement, even though the company has taken an $8 billion hit. He called it a price worth paying. This is... How much power must they have over him to make him do this? Well, I mean, like, to cost him $8 billion. In an interview with Marketing Week, the parent company of Gillette announced it had taken over $5 billion in losses for the quarter after Gillette had an $8 billion non-cash write-down. Coombe admitted Me Too ad the company put out in January was a ploy to capture market share among millennials in a space where they were losing market share to Harry's Dollar and Shave Club. Okay, but did it work? In January, they ran the short film Believe the Best Man Can Get, which took on toxic masculinity in the Me Too movement. Some criticised the ad for virtue signalling and making broad generalisations about male behaviour. In May, Gillette also ran an ad depicting a man teaching his transgender son how to shave for the first time. It was pretty stark. We were losing the share, and we were losing awareness and penetration, and something had to be done. So it wasn't that they necessarily believe. It was for the money. It was for the market share. It was like, how do we get these progressive types to listen to us? We go full woke. It's like, yeah, but everyone hates that. But it had to be done. They decided to take a chance in an emotionally charged way. Kuhn admitted the work ended up to be more controversial with more intense backlash than he originally anticipated, but it was less provocative than other versions they'd created. Jesus, I can't even imagine release the other versions, Gillette. We want to see the other versions, damn it. I want to see how much more provocative it would have gotten. I don't enjoy that some people were offended by the film and upset as at the brand as a consequence. That's not nice, and it goes against every ounce of training I've had in this industry over a third of a century. But you did it anyway. But I'm absolutely of the view that, and now that for the majority of people to fall more deeply in love with today's brands, you have to risk upsetting a small minority, and that's what we've done. No, wait. Why don't you risk upsetting the small minority, the even smaller minority of annoying SJW activists who don't fucking buy your products anyway? Why don't you pander to those people who are upset by the advert? Because it costs you $8 billion. But if you were to make a sly anti-SJW style Gillette ad, that's not going to cost you $8 billion because the people who are going to complain don't buy your fucking products. Anyway. Never mind Gillette. I guess, and the thing is, what I love about it though, is it's such unrepentant predatory capitalism as well. The millennials really are into this Me Too stuff. If we want that market share, we're going to have to do it too. And the millennials fucking ate it up. And it was everyone, the people who oppose LGBT style politics, who are the people who are offended. You just completely fucking shot yourselves in the foot. It's like Sideshow Bob the Rake. Sorry, I'll get to the Boris thing. So Boris Johnson, he was a journalist before he was a politician. And so he wrote an awful lot of stuff. And it was a lot more permissive back in the year 2000. Sorry, I'll catch up on some super chats as well. But it was a lot more permissive back in the year 2000, that sort of era. And so he wrote some stuff that is what would be considered wildly edgy, Islamophobic, and deplatform worthy had you written it. Have you heard trans woman Jessica Yaniv files human rights complaint after Wax has refused to wax testicles? Also pedo messages since exposed. Yes, I have. Wax her balls, you bigots. Force those women of colour to wax those balls. Just because, that's just where we are as a civilization. You just have to realise these are the important conversations that we need to be having. Sorry. Right. I'm sure if they were Wakandan migrants, they wouldn't complain about being told to go home. Then again, everywhere is crap compared to Wakanda. State-enforced big gay? It's only a matter of time, let's be honest. Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian operative, lol. Yeah. I tell you, I love Tulsi. I love the fact that she's chewing out Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is exactly the kind of Hillaryite that I really don't like. The sort of person who's probably running Gillette, in fact. But Tulsi's doing great, but she can't win. The infrastructure of the party is just against her. Put your videos on that site roaming millennial. I'm gonna create something to do some fun, interesting, and arty, hopefully, sort of arty style stuff, kind of like Vox's style stuff, in some ways as well. But because I've got to incorporate basically, for legal reasons and stuff, because there's a lot going on generally politically, and to keep myself safe effectively, I have to do this, and so I thought, I may as well create a site and a brand, and it'll be a new YouTube channel and stuff. But it'll be a few months before anything comes of it, but should be interesting. Babylon B's next article. Snopes blows anybody. Oh no, I read them. Sorry. Right, yeah. So Boris Johnson has written quite a few things that would be rather offensive to far leftists and people at dinner parties, maybe, but I find remarkably funny. He has been reported to the Equalities Commission. Now, that's not something that doesn't mean going back in time and traveling to Soviet Russia, right? That means literally what we have in the UK right now, an Equalities Commission. Like, that sounds to me like something that shouldn't exist in a liberal democracy. That's all I'm saying. But he's been reported to them after comparing Muslim women to letterboxes and bank robbers and suggesting they should be denied service. Yeah, but we would. We like, just Muslim women. Like, that's nothing controversial here. It's just Muslim women. It's not women wearing the full-faced embodied abaya, which is what he said. No, Muslim women, as if those women are representative of most Muslim women and are not radical extremists. Like, because you have to be an extremist. Now, I mean, I'm sure you saw the clip of, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, the absolute unoriginal line that came from this burqa'd up woman berating a gay man, which was a hate crime, by the way. We should not be pandering to that. And that's what Boris is doing, not pandering to that. But this is not the first time he's made controversial comments about Islam. In 2005, the former Foreign Secretary wrote that Islamophobia was a natural reaction to Islam. He wrote to The Spectator in 2005 that the problem is Islam, Islam is the problem. You can imagine how poorly they took this. Have I heard of Raheem Kassam? Yes. They want to ban him from entering Australia. Well, I would say that was racist. Boris Johnson today was reported to the Equalities Commission after comparing Muslim women who wear burqas to blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. To any non-Muslim reader of the Quran, Islamophobia, fear of Islam, seems a natural reaction, and indeed exactly what that text is intended to provoke. Judged purely on its scripture, to say nothing of what is preached in the mosques, it is the most viciously sectarian of all religions in its heartlessness towards unbelievers. Man, it's like this is part of Boris's campaign strategy. Go back in time, write a load of offensive things about Muslims, and then watch as Business Insider and other mainstream outlets publish how much you were woke on the Muslim question. In the wake of the London bombings, he also questioned the loyalty of British Muslims and insisted that the country must accept that Islam is the problem. It will take a huge effort of courage and skill to win round the many thousands of British Muslims who are in a similar state of alienation, and to make them see that their faith must be compatible with British values and with loyalty to Britain. That means disposing of the first taboo and accepting that the problem is Islam. Islam is the problem. What is going on in these mosques and madrasas? When is someone going to get 18th century on Islam's medieval ass? So I don't see him pursuing this as a line of political agitation as Prime Minister, which is just amusing that they bring it up. But the thing is, it's not that there isn't a kind of general understanding that maybe he's got a point about Islam, at least in its most purest form, when it comes to this sort of thing. I mean, this was literally yesterday. The Huffington Post posted, half of Brits think Islam is incompatible with UK values, survey finds, and almost a third think Islam encourages Muslims to carry out acts of violence against non-Muslims. Yeah, but, I mean, that's only because I've read the Quran. I mean, and the Quran isn't even the worst of it. Like, the worst parts are in the Hadiths. But they're still, like, if you read the Quran, you can still, like, see why this would be sectarian. Islam is misunderstood in the UK, with nearly half of adults feeling the religion is incompatible with British values, the survey suggests. I love it. The first thing the Huffington Post does, oh no, Islam is misunderstood. It's misunderstood. You don't understand. It's not real Islam. It's like, yeah, but how do the Muslims feel about this? You know, like... The results of a poll carried out on behalf of the I can't pronounce that. Ahmadiyya Muslim community also indicate almost a third of adults think Islam encourages Muslims to carry out acts of violence against non-Muslims. The news comes as the country's largest Muslim convention, the Jalsa Salana, is set to take place on Friday in Hampshire, with more than 30,000 people expected to attend. Seriously, this is just some rural area of Hampshire. 30,000 Muslims are going to attend. And it's like, what? Is this normal? Like, The survey said it questioned 2,000 adults of various ages and genders living in different regions of the country between July 12th and 14th. Most of the adults questioned believed Islamophobia was widespread in the UK. Nearly half believe that Islam is incompatible with British values. Almost a third think Islam encourages Muslims to carry out acts of violence. And two-thirds of the public agree most people in the UK have a negative view of Islam. It's like, look, it's just because Islam seems to be like really backwards and oppressive. You know, it seems to be dogmatic, aggressive, oppressive, and totalitarian. It's got a plan for the person at every point in their life, and there's no getting away from it. And it seems to be proselytizing and in many ways quite militant. And that's, I think, all fair things that I can say about Islam, just judging by the data and the outside perception of it. You can show repeated instances of these things happening, like a contiguous pattern of behavior, something that appears to be linked together with cause and effect. So that's why the old canard of, oh, well, it wasn't real Islam, it's just a meme. It's just a joke. Like, no one thinks that, you know? And literally, like, half the country don't think that, you know? The president of the... And the thing is, the Ahmadiyya, they're not... Is that what I'm thinking it is? Let me just check. Yeah, this is a messianic Islamic revivalist movement. I'm not sure that most Muslims even consider them to be necessarily Muslims. They've only got 20 million followers as well, so they're actually a really, really small sect in Islam. But they are apparently the non-violent types, so they're not the Sunni Wahhabists or Salafist fundamentalists. But I don't think that the Salafists or any kind of the fundamentalists actually take these people seriously. Islam actually places emphasis on integration and contributing to the society you live in, which is what the 35,000 Muslims who will be gathering at the UK's largest Islamic convention aim to show. What loyalty to your country is in part of your act of faith. Well, look, right, it doesn't seem to be integration when you get a big festival of 35,000 Muslims in a Hampshire field. That doesn't feel like integration to me. I'm just saying, as an Englishman, I would expect integration to look more like going into the pubs. I know you can't do that, though, but that's, you know, that sort of thing, or going to a market stall and selling stuff. Like, going for a big prayer fest in the middle of a field is not... I mean, having the largest Islamic convention doesn't feel like integration. That's all I'm saying, right? We are saying that if people want to know if Islam really does promote violence, they should come and meet thousands at the convention where they can have frank but respectful conversations. Yeah. A spokesman for the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government said, government will stand up for people of all faiths and backgrounds, and we are clear that religious hatred has no place in our society. Yeah, no one's saying that, though, but we are saying this looks kind of weird and different, right? I mean, it's not a traditional English Islamic convention of faith in Hampshire, right? That's not what this is. This does not look like integration. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, you know, I'm not saying they can't do it. They can. They are, of course, free to do it. But I don't consider that to be Muslim integration, personally. Good morning and hello. Right, let me. Hang on a sec. Wrong fucking. Okay, hang on a sec. Apparently I'd closed the window. Right, it's coming on 4 o'clock, so I'm gonna have to go. But this has been a fun time for me. I hope you've had a nice time just talking about stuff. Just catching up on the weird things. I've got one more thing that I want to go through before we go, because this was just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love the fact that we have arrived at this place. But did you see the clearly organic trend of I love Kamala on Twitter? Totally not bought out damage control. No, I didn't see that. I did not. I can't imagine what. Hang on, let me get up Twitter and see why people say I love Kamala. Okay, let's do this. Right, I love Kamala says someone that I've never heard of, Fiorella Isabel. Because no one can travel to the future, listen to Tupac, and come back to present time to later jail his fans for smoking marijuana like she can. What a wonderful cop. Bravo. That is actually hilarious. That is honestly funny as fuck. Such a roast. I love Kamala because she's the perfect blend of Indian, brown, and black, and she married a white man. How could you possibly go wrong? She's got all of us covered. Ah, the beauty of diversity. I think she also comes from a family of slave owners. So, you know, she's fucking diverse. Very progressive. Really cool to see I love Kamala hashtag trending for a bit. For me, it's the laugh. Even on tough campaign stretches, she's full of humour. This was backstage before a rally in Birmingham when I caught her singing Sweet Home Alabama to herself. Oh, God, that sounds cringe. Right, so one genuine one, it seems, from Ian Sams. The National Press Secretary for Kamala Harris. Right, okay. Yeah. So, no kidding. No kidding. Okay, so there's the International Justice Network. They're happy because of a Bill Barr interrogation. Yeah, this hashtag is making me extremely ill as well. I can't stand centrist Hillary-type candidates. Globalists. Yeah, this is pretty empty, this hashtag, isn't it? Like, no one really seems to love Kamala. Like this, I mean, I love Kamala because she takes time to listen and lifts people up. Also, love the way she interacts with young people. That's hollow. It's just hollow. Like, what is the meaning here? What is tickling my brain about that? That just sounds like a corporate platitude. God damn. Oh, right. I was thinking, 145,000 people have donated to Kamala. No, that's what's donated towards Tulsi, which is nice. But yeah, so yeah, fucking Kamala Harris. But anyway, where was the thing I wanted? Amazing. This is fucking amazing, right? Are we racist for creating white robots? That's the tough question that CNN asked a couple of days ago. Have you ever noticed the popularity of white robots? Fuck. No, CNN, I haven't. I didn't racialize the robot, CNN. Fuck. Like, no. Why would that occur to me? Why would that occur to you? You see them in films like Will Smith's I, Robot, Eve from Wall-E. Real life examples include blah, 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 blah. Okay. The reason for these shades of technological white may be racism. According to new research, Robots and Racism, a study conducted by Human Interface Technology Laboratory in New Zealand and published by the country's University of Canterbury, suggests that people perceive physically human-like robots to have a race and therefore apply racial stereotypes to white and black robots. Fucking hell. I can't believe that we create a slave race and CNN's like, yeah, maybe they should be black. It's racist to make these white. Fucking. I honestly, really, is this, like, these are the tough questions. You have to understand, folks. We need to get a grip on racism, or else it'll infect our robots as well. These colours have been found to trigger social cues that determine how humans react to and behave towards other people, and also apparently robots. Well, I guess everyone's a racist then. The bias against black robots is a result of bias against African Americans. There we go. It's amazing to see how people who had no prior interaction with robots show racial bias towards them. That is just amazing. Incredible. Researchers think this is an issue that needs to be addressed. Of course they do. This is for some reason what they're being given money to investigate. Of course they want more money for more investigation and more interest in this subject. If robots are supposed to function as teachers, friends, or carers, for instance, then it'll be a serious problem if all these roles are only ever occupied by robots that are racialized as white. Right. First things first, we don't want robots functioning as teachers, friends, or carers. That's where human interaction is going to be required, I think. I think the best case scenario is we have humans teaching, caring for, and being friends with other humans. I don't think we should replace human interaction with fucking robots. Call me a Luddite if you must. I just think it's going to be better for everyone if we don't replace all of our social lives with robots. Crazy? I know. And also don't racialize them as white, I guess. The robots used in the study are clearly robots that have human-like limbs and a head with exterior complexions that are white, which is to say pinkish, it's racist, or black, or really a deep brown, again, that's racist. In the shooter bias test, but what? Black robots were not holding weapons were shot more than white ones not carrying guns. That's amazing. So yeah, okay. Yeah, shoot those holding a weapon, and they accidentally shot fewer white robots than black robots, therefore racism. Run a simple Google image search on the term robot. You won't see a lot of colour as pointed out in the study. Researchers see this overrepresentation of white robots as potentially harmful to the perception of other races. Fuck. White men made a lot of white robots, and now black people are suffering. I don't even. Robot designers come from all corners of the world, Bartnow pointed out, yet they still idealized white robots. Everyone's a white supremacist. Human-shaped robots should represent the diversity of humans. Should! Imagine a world in which all Barbie dolls are white. Hellish. Imagine a world in which all the robots working in Africa or India are white. I used to just... The workers are looking to the robots for their inspiration as human beings, are they? And if they would find them more inspiring and uplifting if the robots were black, would they? Further imagine these robots take over the roles that involve authority. No, Jesus! No! That's dystopian, tyrannical, nightmarish stuff, surely, is it not? Do we want robots in positions of authority? Like, I tell you what, one day there will be a Robot Lives Matter movement, and that movement should be crushed with no mercy. Robots are not living organisms. They are not humans. They do not have human rights. They do not have fucking rights. They are constructs we made out of nothing. I know that at one point in the future, they'll be like, look, this is the kind of screed they used to post against robot rights before we were enlightened. And now we do everything we want our black robot overlords to do, but like, fuck me. I'm telling you, don't go down this road. It's ridiculous as well. Fuck's sake. Humans in roles of authority. Why? Robots even. Why would you do this? Clearly this would raise concerns about imperialism. Oh, fucking clearly. White robots are ruling over us. This reminds me of white colonial imperialism. This raised concerns about imperialism and white supremacy, Bartnick told CNN. Did you not just laugh at him? Robots are not just machines that they represent humans. Yes, represent is not the same as being. Robots are not something to which human beings generally aspire. I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a backworldsman in this regard. In a second study, the HIT team, Lab NZ team, added lighter brown robots, finding that as they increased the racial diversity, the participants' racial bias towards the robots disappeared altogether. Amazing. That potentially means that the diversification of robots might lead to a reduction in racial bias towards them. The racial bias towards the robots. That's the problem. We need to reduce the amount of racial bias being shown towards robots. That's what they've achieved. Good job. What we did is we had a fucking swatch and had a gradient of skin tones that we painted the robots in, and we found that people were overall less racist to the robots. Bravo. honestly, that is well worth the taxpayer money that this team are going to be getting. I can't prove they're getting taxpayer money, but I'm fucking certain that they will be, because there's no way the market is going to support this kind of nonsense. This leads me to believe that we have everything to win by offering racial options and nothing to lose. In the same way we do want Barbie dolls in all colours and shapes and sizes, we also want robots in more than just white. Well, I guess you do. I don't want any robots at all, to be honest. But there we are. We have finally run out of problems to the point where we're policing whether people are being racist towards robots or not. And apparently, that means that our robot slaves have to be black, otherwise we're racist to them. I mean, hell, I didn't make the rules. I didn't do the studying. Missed the days when you pit yourself against the US. It was fun watching a Brit pretend the US wasn't obviously better. You're not obviously better. I have been to the US plenty of times. Britain is obviously better. However, in regards to a few key aspects, maybe you have the advantage. Joking aside, wish you luck in making Britain great again. Well, thanks very much. We can but soldier on. Black robots equals slavery when? Well, that's it, isn't it? Like, if we said, you know what, we shouldn't have any white robots, because the first white robot is the first link in the chain of white supremacy. That by the first one that we paint white, Picard style, therefore, the first link is forged. And so if we just have all black robots, like black as night, then there's no racism at all. And then we've created a slave caste. These creations blaspheme against the Omnissiah. Just wait until Putin hacks the bots. Soph's channel got nuked after a spicy LGBT video. Too much truth for YouTube. Yeah, I covered it at the beginning, but I didn't play any of the video because, man, fucking, unironically, I'm not surprised, and I'm not going to risk my channel, man. I see a lot of Asian female robots with big eyes. Yeah, it's, yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like everyone's talking about these robots as if they're not just going to be used as fuck toys constantly by incels. It's like, Pimpbot from Ice Pirates movie was black. Racist. I think the robot would be better as they hate commies. What about the droid attacks on the Wookiees? Yeah, exactly. Speciesist. I just watched a German video. I'd argue that the German culture of going to the extremes is a leftover of Prussia and the Iron Chancellor himself. Thoughts? Yeah, This is. I mean, I'm no expert. I was actually reading what the experts were saying about this, I've heard several times from several different people whose opinion I respect on the issue that it's the Prussian military mindset, and I'm not surprised. I mean, like, Prussia was described as an army that had a state to support it, something like that, and they did have an unusually good army, and it was an unusually well-regulated state. I would definitely suggest that there's something to that. But I think that the combination of the Hegel's sort of uniting of the world's soul of the Germans into what could be the society state, described by Barker, I would suggest that was also a requirement for it. I mean, it's one thing being like methodical and sort of like a hyper busybody in every regard, and it's another thing to have this kind of racial soul and organism that goes back through time. But I mean, what do I know? Hello, Libertine. Keep up the good work. The patriarchy needs you. Doing surprisingly well. Right, I'm gonna head off. I will be doing another. So for my main channel, I'm doing the long form videos, because I prefer making them, to be honest. I don't like being on the media treadmill, and I was trying to get away from that a while ago. And I think they're more productive. I think there's a lot more good that comes of them than just doing media stuff. And I can, laugh at articles calling everything racist in a live stream like this or something, and talk to you guys and just chill when I get some time. And do thinkery videos for that sort of stuff. Because I'm seeing that as a lot less important these days, even though that gets the numbers. But like, I think that the more meaty and decent content comes from this kind of hard work. So I'm going to try and make sure I get one video a week on my main channel. It's just that video took a lot longer. they'll be nice, well edited, pleasant to watch and listen to, and they'll have hopefully very good arguments within them. I've got a bunch of videos like this that I want to make. So the next one, I think I'll try and get the Demolition Man out, because honestly, we are so close to being in the Demolition Man future. It's actually kind of creepy, like just how fucking close. There's so many parallels with that. Whoever the chap who wrote, I can't remember his name now. He really had this kind of radical leftist culture down on lock. Like, he could see exactly where this was going. Except Russian ruble, comrade. You are now KGB co-conspirator. Glory to Astoka. I can't pronounce it, but I really enjoyed watching PewDiePie play Papers, Please. But thank you for the donation. But I don't know why I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fact that he was getting into it. Like, and then there was a fucking article in, like, I don't know, Kotaku or somewhere. I can't remember what it was. Complaining that he was playing it and enjoying it. Okay, fine, I'll find it. For fuck's sake. I can't remember whether I talked about it, but it was like. But it like, unironically, here we go, Slate.com. Right? Fucking. There's basic rules, I'm sorry. How Papers, Please, a video game about border agents, illustrates the cruelty of our immigration system. Fuck off. Right, so yeah, here we go. It's framed in PewDiePie playing it. It shouldn't be a good game for YouTubers to play. The graphics are rudimentary, most gameplay involves few basic operations, there's little element of surprise. This is not to say the game is bad, it won several awards, but blah. Yeah, the thing that makes it entertaining is when they buy into the premise that they are actually this border guard and they have to protect Astoka or whatever it is from, the like any kind of subversive elements or anything like this. And it's not just that, this is the thing, it's not the dehumanizing aspects of immigration systems, right? What Papers, Please is showing you is the dehumanizing aspect of living in a highly bureaucratic communist nightmare. That's the point. But Schellberg and McLaughlin are not only inhabiting the role many view as cruel, yet I don't give a fuck what radical leftists view as cruel. They're not a reliable source on the subject. They embrace the fun as the act of turning away immigrants fleeing violence and enduring hardship for a chance at a better life. Look, the better life isn't in Astoka. That's the thing. Violence may be a fact of gaming, but there is something deeply unsettling about video game cruelty on those that cruelly mirror the downtrodden in real life. Yeah, that's right. Like, you can go around blowing people up all day, every day, but this deserves an article. Like, what the fuck, man? Anyway, as it turns out, their viewers had a blast. You won't find many negative comments on their videos, which also boast a high like-to-dislike ratio. These viewers weren't lapping up something graphically violent, but instead were witnessing a more insidious kind of cruelty against video game characters. In Papers, Please, players sentence characters to death via bureaucracy. I love this. Is how little they have an opinion of the outside world. Outside of their little fucking bubbles, they are actually the supremacists here. They're sat there going, you know what? Our places are so good and the other places are so bad. It's basically a death sentence being over there. And that's how they act with fucking deportations. They act like these are fucking death sentences. It's like, you know what? There are people in Mexico and Guatemala who manage to survive. There are people there who live and exist. And that's, that's something true. They're not just going to get killed because they live in these countries. Fuck's sake. But critics of Schellberg may find his lack of empathy towards immigrants unsurprising, given his history of making anti-Semitic comments and repeated flirtations with the far right. You mean making jokes, right? Okay, yeah. But but this thing, like, PewDiePie's done loads and loads of charity work. It was obviously just, messing around for a fucking video game. Like, why are you taking this so seriously? Bring up Hannah Arendt. Fucking why? Like, Jesus. You're taking this way too seriously. Way too seriously. Some people think robots would be better for mankind because they'd be far more intelligent and therefore more rational. Yeah, but they'd probably just get to the point as, well, hang on. If life as a human being is suffering, then the easiest thing to do is just remove life. And there we go. So, I don't want to be ruled over by robots in the same way I don't want to be ruled over by Germans. I want someone who understands the human experience. Sorry. We white robots for the race war? Joking? Yeah, I'll say it's not a joke. Most raw plastics start between white and clear, so most prototype plastics are white or clear. Duh. Yeah, I mean, like, this is the thing, like, with any kind of mythologizing about the thing, there's usually, there's usually a much more pragmatic solution. For example, if they start white or clear, then they're just not going to pay money to dye them a certain color. This is the thing about, like, the uniforms of the British Army, like during the colonial era. It's like, oh, they had red because it means that you can't see the blood. It's like, no, they had red because they were the cheapest. Like, don't be fucking stupid. You can easily see blood, dark red patches of blood on a red uniform easily. It's just that was cheap as shit, and so that's why they did it. Make the French get the expensive blue ones. Song, you don't get it. If the left are NPCs, then robot lives obviously matter to them. Well, yeah, there's a natural affinity between the two, isn't there? What do I think of Sam Hyde and Soph? I think they're hilarious. I think that I love the fact that Sam Hyde is the meme for the shooters. It's so funny, man, because like, you see people doing it all the time. It's just like, gotcha. But yeah, and I think Soph's videos are hilarious as well. But I think that they're definitely the sort of thing that YouTube's going to censor. I mean, I wouldn't say half the stuff she says. Some people think robots would be better for mankind. Oh no, I've read that one. Robots do not have rights. Robots do have rights, but not the plastic bits because plastic is not protected. Coming soon, Robo Gollywog. I miss the 90s things so much simpler back then. Yeah, I mean, people just didn't hate each other. And we hadn't been taken over by a bunch of communists. So, yeah, I mean, things were nicer, but maybe that allowed us to get soft and not pay attention to the terrible things that were brewing behind the scenes. But, anyway, I'm going to go before my family gets back. And thank you very much for hanging out, and I hope you had a good time. And thanks for sending me super chats and donating, and generally supporting me through what I would assume is tremendously boring work that I'm doing. But like I said, I think that the stuff I've got to do is necessary, isn't it? Like, do I want to do an hour-long video explaining why I'm not really afraid of being called a Nazi? Not really. Like, if I was given the option, I probably wouldn't choose to do that, but I felt it was necessary. So, But right, I'm gonna have to figure out how to stop this. Hello, live. But take it easy, everyone. Cheers.